Hi everyone. Today we're going to talk about cross-functional communication. We're going to talk about the benefits it has, some of the challenges that it brings, and some techniques that will allow you to make it more effective. So I don't know about you guys, but oftentimes I tend to oversimplify why some company succeeds. Let me give you some examples. For example, Google. I think they have a great product and they're great engineers. Other companies, FedEx, great at operations. Nobody beats them at operations. Apple, the best product design and user interface there is out there. Zappos, who hasn't ordered Zappos shoes online and said this is the best customer experience I've ever had. Or even OxyClean. I don't know if you remember the OxyClean guy. What a great salesman, right? But in reality, all these companies not only succeed because they're great and doing one thing, but because they have the ability to grow, to work successfully across different functional areas. So let me walk you through some of the things that make us believe that working across functional teams is great. First, diversity. Cross-functional teams bring together people with a variety of background, experiences, and skills together. Second, innovation. It is proven that cross-functional teams have the ability to solve more complex problems and that cross-functional teams have an enhanced capacity for creative solutions. Third, productivity. Cross-functional teams have better communication across functional areas. Yeah. And if a member of a cross-functional team is, I don't know, for example, engineers working with someone from marketing, it's likely that they will develop skills or learn skills from the other people they would otherwise not have developed. Finally, company alignment. Cross-functional teams allow to develop a shared vision and an aligned set of goals by understanding the other areas' needs and challenges. So for all these reasons, we believe that cross-functional teams are a great way to go.
Whoa, hold on, Alfredo. Not only are cross-functional teams not always the best thing, I'd say from many of our experiences, cross-functional teams fail. And they fail in 4 different ways. Familiarity, aims, isolation, and language. So let me tell you about these 4 things. Who is this man? That's right, Meta World Peace. Very, very, very good. He is a power forward. Now, for those of you who know basketball, some of you even know who Meta World Peace is. But even if you don't, simply me telling you that he's a power forward gives you some idea of what kind of play style he has, what his role is on a team, maybe even what height and weight he is. But for those of us who don't know basketball, if I told you that he was a power forward, that would be literally meaningless to you. Think how much more true that is in business, where the jargon we use is laced with and backed by years of understanding of our field. In a cross-functional team, that experience isn't there, and so familiarity works against us. What about aims? We might think that it's easy for us to decide on a single goal, but on a cross-functional team, it's pretty difficult. A cross-functional team might come into a meeting ready to decide what to do about a failing product, and half of the team might come in with redesigns of the product, and the other half of the team might come in with ideas on how to scrap the product. What about a more subtle sort of difference? What if you came into a meeting where you were supposed to think about a new idea, and the data-driven side of the team came in with extensive research, and the creative side of the team came in with open minds ready to brainstorm? Neither of those is wrong, but it leads to the sort of miscommunication that causes cross-functional teams to falter and fail. What about isolation? If you go into a cross-functional team, why should you as an engineer learn what sales is doing? Why should you as a finance person learn what engineering is doing? It doesn't make sense. But without that understanding, it's impossible for you to get anything done. You simply relegate and you don't think about their problems. And then when they complain to you about their problems, you say, yeah, you should solve that, right? You're the expert. And it's that sort of misunderstanding between the members of a cross-functional team, that unwillingness to think about, what is she doing here? What is she contributing that I need to learn from, that causes those cross-functional teams not to work. And finally, there's language, and I'd like to talk about the word dating. At the beginning of the century, the word dating probably meant that you were seeing a different person every night of the week. These days, it might mean that you're in a committed relationship, depending on geography and depending on your personal preferences. For scientists, it means you're trying to find the age of a fossil. And this is a common word. This is a word that we use all the time. Think how many more meanings are inherent in a word that's used in business, how many misinterpretations of a simple phrase there can be. So for these 4 reasons, for familiarity, for aims, for isolation, for language, cross-functional teams are doomed to fail.
Oh, wait a minute, Aang Sang. I wouldn't go that far. Cross-functional teams can actually be successful. That is, of course, if you understand and use the fundamental basic building blocks of excellence. The first one, make sure you tell a compelling story. If you're going to get all the people from sales and marketing and finance into one room, make sure they have a clear and motivating mission. If I'm working at Google and I tell you we're going to work on a new recording device, maybe that's not so exciting. If I tell you it's Google Glass and it's the next innovation in recording and experience, it's going to change the way people experience the world, that is a compelling story, and that's a reason that cross-functional teams need to work together. Secondly, communicate simply and clearly. There's no need for jargon. You don't have to prove you're an expert in this room. You don't have to use technical language that'll confuse people. Consultants are great at this. If I tell you I'm a consultant and I say I need that deck on SWOT by COB, you might know what that means. You might not. You might not understand that I want a PowerPoint presentation on the strengths and weaknesses of an organization by the close of business. That will really confuse things. Communicate clearly. Be simple. The third building block, meet frequently to share ideas. Many times people think, oh, cross-functional teams, that's for our once-a-month meeting that I dread, Shalva. Or that's for the quarterly meeting, I'll just focus on it when it gets here. But cross-functional teams are actually far more effective if they meet more frequently and less formally. A great example of a company that does this is Facebook. The company lunches aren't just a waste of money or time. It's an informal way to get people from different sectors together so I can understand what people in different parts of the organization are doing, and we can work together better when it comes time. Finally, be willing to put yourself in other people's shoes. This means active and open listening. You have to be willing to engage with people from other departments and understand what their motivations and challenges are. So if we're all working at Schwinn on the same bicycle product, sales might want it to be bluer. Finance might want it to be cheaper. The engineers, they might want it to be safer. Without active and open listening, you'll never know that. Be sure to put yourself in other people's shoes. So now that we've told you some of the ways cross-functional teams can benefit organizations, what's in it for you? Why is it in your worthwhile to make sure you become a better person on cross-functional teams? The answer is you can become a standout leader. People that can master this skill are better able to perform well in their organizations. It helps you promote cooperation across departments, and it also gives you the ability to enhance the diversity and scope of your network. You can build credibility and influence, not just in whatever cone or section you're in, but across the company. More importantly, it helps you understand the bigger picture. What is our overall company mission? The more you know about the company, the more successful you can be. Finally, and most importantly, you create a reputation. Every time you're in those meetings with the sales and the finance and the marketing people, you're building a reputation that will far outlast whatever project it is you're working on. These are 5 huge reasons why we think you should avoid fail, learn how to work on cross-functional teams, and learn how to be successful on them. We think this could make you a better leader, not just on individual projects, but in your company and your career overall. So we think with that, maybe you might want to go out and try some of these strategies, but we're sure you have some questions, which we're happy to answer.